This isn't just some esports commentary cast of a real-time strategy game made all the way back in 2007. Oh no. This video is the tale of a series of nuclear attacks enacted by the one and only, the infamous Billy. Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome to Supreme Commander Force Alliance Forever for a 4v4 Seton's cast, and it's gonna be a banger. So let's go ahead and get into player introduction, starting in the northeastern corner with Team 1, and ending in the southwestern corner with Team 2. And we're gonna begin in the rear guard position for Team 1, a orange UEF going first land, and his name is Turbo 2. Then we can move on towards the south with the rock position, the Cyan Cybran going first air and second air, and his name is Unknown. Then we can move on to the central position with the dark green Aeon Best faction. And it is, of course, none other than the man, the myth, the legend, the Wheelie. Then we can move up to the north with the beach position, the Gray Seraphim going first land, and he enjoys the name Nori. Then we can move on to Team 2, starting in the rear guard position. Once again, we have ourselves a blue Aeon going first land, best faction, and his name is Foley. Then up to the north of him on the rock position, the yellow Cybran going first air, and his name is Swatoslav. Then over to the east, we have ourselves a pink Seraphim going first land, and his name is Shisato. And then last but not least, we have a purple Cybran going first land, and his name is Spiky Noob. And that is all of our players introduced. We can look at the map, get ourselves a nice cinematic look, and see that the overall counter for reclaim is 15,000, as we would expect on Setons. No special map here with more or less reclaim. And of course, actually, yeah, you can click this to get like the exact number, I think. Yeah, I guess it is, like, almost exactly 15,000. Cool. And Wheelie, gonna be the first one to arrive here in the center of the causeway. Seems as though that Chisato managed to build something else before he walked away. Not quite sure what that was. But both of these players, very high rated, will have very specific build orders for each position on this map. And we also have the customary movement of the beach players, both Nori and Spiky Noob, gonna be making their way into the middle to help out their allies respectively. We also have some scouts out into the air, gonna be trying to get all of that information right now for the man Nori. Also a scout already out from Unknown, flying over the air position for the second team. And we can see the scouting information starting to come in for both sides getting decent little scouts off. And we have our first transport already out onto the map. It's gonna be coming out of the man known as Swatoslav. And they are going to be dropping off a couple of hunters along with 3 engineers, which will allow them to land safely. Does give them a little bit of a buffer as far as if both sides drop at the same time, they will have something there to try and defend with. And over here to the east, a transport now loaded up for Unknown, went for 2 air factories, which means that they should have no issue with protecting this very, very important transport of theirs. And it is going to make its way over and drop off momentarily. In the middle of the map, we have ourselves some fighting going on, along with some reclaim. We're going to go ahead and just pin it to reclaim right now. Wheelie and Chisato, as expected, going to be in the leads. But with Nori and Spiky Noob showing up, the rest of this reclaim should be grabbed up very, very quickly. And Chisato is currently grabbing up a second Salem wreck, and then going to fall back and grab up some of this. Wheelie, who is in the lead, is is getting a little bit of the more central reclaim, then looks as though he's going to fall back and go for these 200, 300 mass wrecks of the land units. Nori spawning on, I think, the slightly advantaged side, since he can just walk over and immediately grab that Salem if he so feels like it. Instead, going to walk forward and start firing onto Chisato. As Spiky Noob showing up. Now Spiky Noob and Chisato both focusing their fire onto the wheelie, whereas Nori is throwing some shots into Chisato. And right now the wheelie is taking a lot of damage very early on. Nori just trying to be aggressive, trying to deal with the T1 land spam, whereas Spiky Noob doing a lot of the same. But right now the wheelie still focused on reclaim, always knows he can jump into the water if things go too far south. And Nori doing a very good job at just holding back the floodgates of units coming out from Chisato, as well as Spiky Noob doing very much the same. In fact, doing it a little bit better, as right now the wheelie a little bit behind on unit production. Nori going to be forced back by the land units out from Chisato. He's getting slapped in the pants by those kind of airburst style of artillery, those Seraphim little shells that break into 5 more in a very shotgun pattern. And Nori and the wheelie looking very worse for wear at the moment. Nori might be in a little bit of trouble as some T1 bombers out from Unknown show up to try and help the situation. The wheelie gonna try and walk into the water. He's gonna first grab up as much reclaim as possible, and now he's gonna be stopped by the very unfortunate movement out from Spiky Noob. The block out from Spiky doing very well, but wheelie with 2,000 HP left over can make it out into the water. Nori now under huge threat, may just die here. Down to 1,200 HP and falling down to 800, 700. It just keeps going down, 600. Is he going to be able to walk away from this? It doesn't look as though it will be. And he's gonna go down in 3, 2, 1, and that's a beautiful Seraphim explosion right there, as Team 1 loses a player. Who will take that base? Most likely going to be transferred over to Wheelie first, as he is the highest rated. And yes, I am indeed correct. Full share has been changed slightly. Goes to the highest rated, not necessarily the highest scoring player, because the highest scoring player on his team, of course, is Wheelie as well. So never mind. Maybe I'm wrong. And he goes ahead and transfers it over to... It looked like Unknown for a second there, and then it was transferred to Turbo 2, and now it's back to Unknown. A lot of transferring going on, interestingly enough. And with that, it looks as though Team 1 is going to end up with one player playing both navies. That's going to be a very risky proposition for the sides here. Unknown and Wheelie going to be in very rough positions. I would be surprised if Wheelie doesn't end up taking this over. Wheelie does get it back to him. Unknown takes it back. Turbo says give beach to him. Wheelie or Unknown probably gonna end up taking this. Turbo finally taking it, and I guess he's gonna actually play with it. Very interesting coming out from them. T2 now on the way for Chisato. Let's go ahead and just check on overall reclaim after the early game. We do see that Nori, his reclaim is gone, but I don't think he got that too much. Chisato sitting on 9,000, Wheelie at 8.2 thousand, Foley at 6,000, and Turbo 2 at 5.5 thousand, and everybody else below 5,000. And that is how the reclaim stacked up. Overall team reclaim, 24,000 for Team 2 versus 19,000 for Team 1. So Team 2 doing a lot better here in the early game. As a bomber comes out, T1 bomber going to manage to drop bombs and kill off a lot of build power. That was 6 T1 engineers of Turbo 2 just going down for nothing. And that's going to be very unfortunate for the orange UEF player. Going to build a railgun. Does build it very quickly, but loses another set of engineers, and that's 13 kills onto that shimmer. Beautiful Aeon aggression coming out from Foley. Interesting. You very rarely see the air player for either team get out even one T1 bomber, but Foley deciding to and getting a lot of value out of it. T1 bomber now on the way from the northern team. Unknown going to send his T1 bomber down towards Team 2's bases. Going to see if he can get some damage done there, but there's already a lot of interceptors screening that will be able to take down that bomber. Make sure to hydrate, everybody. Take a drink of water. It is so good for you, and you will feel better later for it. As up here, this bomber still trying to drop bombs, but does go down eventually. And Foley's reign of terror with that bomber is going to be ended prematurely, as he's been able to maybe slow down Turbo 2 just a little bit. Turbo 2 now going to be setting up his own T3 power generator and trying to get T3 air production on the way. About 70-ish%, yep, for the T3 P-Gen for Foley right now. Meanwhile, on the other side, only 31%. That isn't going to be exceptionally impactful. It's not going to be as crazy as it sounds, because once this power generator is done, it'll only take a couple of seconds for an ASF to come out and online, so we shouldn't have to worry about a situation where like a strat bomber gets unneedingly high amounts of damage. Down here on the southern side, we do see Spiky Noob, his comms trying to make its way back home, but he's under a lot of pressure. Unknown currently throwing out a lot of bombers, has a ton of frigates set up, and should be in a position to maybe get a naval lock coming out here, as he just has much better production. You see these frigates constantly pouring out of these factories, whereas currently Spiky Noob unable to really match that. And on the northern pond side of things, the Navy has been locked for Turbo 2. Not really surprising, considering how much time was lost with the juggling of responsibilities, where both sides decided, or both Wheelie and Unknown decided they didn't want the second base. One critical thing to look out here, though, is with Turbo 2 getting that base so early, he should just be ahead economically over his counterpart Foley, which means he will be able to get air control a lot easier, but needs to worry about this naval situation. He is starting to throw out some torpedo bombers to try and salvage the situation, try and get himself back into the water, but it's going to be a difficult ask for him, as currently there's a few ASF kicking around for both sides. T2 has now finished up for Chisato. He's thrown up a couple of PD. T3 now on the way for Wheelie, who is sitting in a beautiful little heart formation. One second. I'm just going to go ahead and screenshot this. Oh, yep, there you go. I wasn't actually trying to do a Steam screenshot, but I forgot Steam was still open. As over here to the east, the frigates have managed to do quite a bit of damage. There's a lot of reclaim just sitting here. In fact, we can go ahead and check that. 1,000 reclaim already sitting there. Across the map over here, we're looking at 2.7 thousand, as currently Unknown is on the precipice of navally locking out Spiky Noob. And Spiky Noob going to be very unhappy with this situation, trying to reclaim living frigates. You always know it's a bad sign when you're trying to do that. Spiky Noob asking his teammates to try a little harder, as an Unknown even throwing out some Corsairs to try and get some damage down. Is going to lose that Corsair, but currently Unknown is just supreme in this Southern Navy. He's working at Taco Bell because he's serving up a Navy Supreme. And Chisato here in the middle, now starting to suffer from the fate of his ally Spiky Noob. He's starting to get shot at by a Salem that's made its way into the middle. Wheelie finishing up T3. Wonder what that was for. He's also locked himself into walls, which is quite interesting, as we wait to see what he wants to do. He's going for a T3 power generator. As Turbo 2 up here to the north, going to be working on RAS on that commander. And he's working on a air grid as well. RAS now on the way as well for Foley. These high-level players, they look the same. They do the same things. It's very strange. The only big difference between what the teams are doing is, holy moly, a comm drop coming out from Swadoslav. I wonder what the play here is. What does he have on that commander? We'll have to wait to see. T3, so he's going to land and immediately start building Myrmidon T3 anti-air structures. He's going to try and really lock down this use of torpedo bombers. All of these torpedo bombers are now coming in, and they're going to be firing onto Swadoslav. Is it going to be enough? It doesn't seem as though, at least at the moment. But that is a very interesting play coming out from Swadoslav. Wants to set up a kind of beacon of no air control here for Turbo 2. And an air fight happened just above that, and it does seem as though Turbo 2 lost in complete air control to his opponent, Foley. Of course, he will have more mass to play around with as far as getting up a bigger air grid. 4 air factories online for Foley versus the 5 about to finish up for Turbo 2. Very interesting plays coming out from both sides, as we're now starting to see that desperation play, Mass Zooey, now being attempted by Turbo 2, who is really under a lot of pressure right now. But on the other side, the pressure has been relieved for the opponent. Spiky Noob was able, with some assistance from the air, I assume, to set himself back up in the waters, but he's now under the issue of having only T1 Navy versus the T2 prospects of his opponent. And here in the middle, Chisato has lost a ton of ground as he is being gunned down by the Salems and the Sirens out from a no. Up to the north, we have Swadoslav starting to siege down towards this position of Turbo 2. And in the middle, Wheelie, he's just living his best life. He's living in his heart. He's ecoing up. Speaking of ecos, 200 and now 300 mass a second for Turbo 2. Wheelie sitting at 268. And everybody else lower. So Team 1 is just doing a lot better economically, as these two players on Team 1 ecoing very well. But now we're going to start seeing some of that eco go to waste for Wheelie, as these T2 boats are managing to get in stray shots over that little cliff there, over that little hill line, and they're going to start killing off this T3 mass extractor. Will they be able to get it before this T2 engineer can build a shield? I think they will. But instead, they decide to move. I guess he didn't realize he was getting shots in, so that's going to be very, very nice for Foley, or, no, not for Foley, for Wheelie, to realize he didn't actually lose that, as a drop of T1 engineers managed to get a bunch of factories up over here, but they're going to go down, mostly thanks to these restorers coming out from Foley. And Foley going with those restores, a very, very nice play. Also has a Solace out. Wonder what the reasoning behind that is. I think T2 is better per the mass. But he does have air control, so he can go for whatever he wants, I guess. And now with some T2 artillery going up, trying to just dissuade any use of Navy over here from Swadoslav, who's actually struggling to figure out what he wants to do, and he's sitting on a relatively low eco compared to Wheelie and Turbo 2, over 100 mass behind each of them. The total masses are very similar between the teams, but Wheelie and Turbo 2 are the big powerhouses. Unno, very, very poor economically, but his opponent Spiky Noob is even poorer. Actually, at the moment, it's kind of funny. This Southern Navy, these two players are the least rich people. They haven't developed their economies quite as well as anybody else on the map. Even Chisato, who is currently losing mass extractors on the front lines, is doing better than his ally Spiky Noob economically. Speaking of the middle players, the Wheelie managed to get out from his heart-shaped prison. I wonder how he did that. I mean, I guess he just reclaimed one and then rebuilt the wall, but he managed to get out of his heart-shaped prison and is now setting up back here, starting to build UEF RAS SCUs. Very interesting. And Turbo 2, he is under some threat over here in the north. That shield is going to have to be assisted most likely if he wants it to stay standing, as a Salem and a Siren firing into them. And restorers here in the middle as a few Salems jump up onto land, trying to deal damage down onto this fire base of Chisato. Not going to quite be able to do it. But you have to be a little bit worried right now for Unknown. He's losing a lot of his teched up navy due to these restorers, due to the air out from Foley. And he's not really able to make a huge dent towards Spiky Noob, who has just decided, damn, quantity is all I need. And is just building so many factories. He has T2 Navy now on the way to T3 coming out from Chisato. If he can just hold out long enough for a battleship to come up, his woes will be much, much easier to handle, as he just has so many frigates out onto the field. Huge naval battle ensuing, and it does seem as though Unknown, despite having a technological advantage, is going to lose this. He just doesn't have the frigate count to keep up. And once these frigates get on top of these Salems, the Salems go down relatively quickly with focus fire. Although this is going to be a very costly battle for Spiky Noob, it will go down in the chart as a W. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day, is who gets the dubs and who gets the L's. Although with more and more units pouring in, more and more Salems showing up, these frigates are becoming less and less scary. It does seem as though there may be an ending of this where there is still a soft contain, still all of these frigates be unable to move out and get any real damage done, as the reinforcements out from Unknown are becoming significant. Up here to the north, that Salem and that Siren currently fully shutting down this mass extractor expansion, as right now we're seeing the RAS SCUs out from Wheelie assisting economic upgrades for Turbo 2. He wants to get Turbo 2 ahead in the economy space. A huge air grid now has formed for Turbo 2. Let's go ahead and check on Foley. Foley is sitting on a much smaller air grid. He's sitting on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 air factories versus Turbo 2 sitting on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So right now, if things are to be believed, as long as Turbo can afford those factories, he most certainly can. He's going to be sitting on a very strong position and be able to grab some air control over from the opposing side. Meanwhile, in this Southeastern Navy, it's T2 boats versus T1 boats, but there's also an occasional Solace thrown in there for good measure. Is the Solace going to go down? It will, but I think those Solace torpedoes are going to take down this cruiser. Oh, will they? Oh, it was close, but the cruiser stood no chance. But I think trading out the cruiser for the Solace, I think the Solace still wins on that. I think the Solace is still cheaper. We can go ahead and, in fact, check on that. Solace costing a smooth 1,600 mass versus Unknown's Siren with a cost of 2,000. So that is a efficient trade. Maybe not power-wise. I mean, obviously not power-wise, but still. As we have some Alohas now thrown up. He's trying to attack some of these static targets that have been set up by Swadoslav. Swadoslav has managed to walk his commander all the way back home, interestingly. And we do have Galaxy-class battleships starting to come out from Swadoslav, trying to officially break this naval siege. He was having troubles with the siege mechanics coming out from now both Wheelie and Turbo 2 with those T2 artillery and these tactical missile launchers, but with the battleship, maybe he can just break through. In the middle, the hearts have been slightly reclaimed. The Salems on land now for Swadoslav, going to be chased down by RAS SCUs. Remember to hydrate, everybody. As over here to the northeast, we have T3 on the way for Turbo 2. Maybe wants to use his commander to expand his influence. Also have an SMD queued up now, as well as a nuke launcher out from Turbo 2. He's trying to pull out all of the stops. He will not allow himself to be outdone or outscaled, as it were. And with that nuke completed, you have to be worried about, in particular, Foley. He could be in a very rough position. With T3 now done, what's Turbo 2's plan with that commander? Very interesting. I usually see like a RAS thrown on this, but I don't usually think I see T3 thrown on the air compare. Teleporter on the way now for Turbo 2. And he's getting it very quickly. Is he even stalling power? I mean, he's stalling power, all right, but he doesn't care. He's going to have teleporter. Oh, that is spicy. But unfortunately for him, his team is just losing now in the Southern Navy with those battleships coming out. It's going to be very difficult for Unknown to hold on. In the Northern Navy, it's been lost for a bit. Atlantis on the way for Wheelie. He just wants a big submarine. And Wheelie really does have a huge economy here, but it just doesn't seem like he's able to do very much with it. He's trying to get things done around the map. He's trying to get up a huge RAS SCU force. And maybe with a huge RAS SCU force, he can make something happen. But it's looking a little bit sketch for the Dark Green Aeon. Teleporter has been finished up. I'm very interested to see what he wants to do with that. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But Nano Repair, Advanced Nano Repair, in fact, on the way for Shisato. And that nuke is going to be more dangerous with Teleporter completed. Anti-nuke over here in the middle, finished up for Chisato. He could just go and snipe the anti-nuke. And that's the only thing really protecting Foley's base. And Foley is the highest economy player on the enemy team. And finally overtaking the Wheelie. And now we see the first Atlantis finished up, and there's not really anything here to combat that. Needs to start building Barracudas if he wants to be able to deal with that in any meaningful way. As mass batteries of shields going up over here trying to protect this T2 artillery installation for the Wheelie. And he's just going to keep building shields, it would seem. And down here on the southeastern side, we have a ton of Barracudas now out onto the field trying to be a last-ditch effort to defend. But right now, Spiky has just set himself up with a crazy amount of frigates. How many factories does Spiky have? Spiky sitting on 32, make that 33 T1 land factories. And almost all of them are building frigates. The Wheelie has built another Atlantis, and he has another on the way. He's going to try and Atlantis spam his way out of this Northern Navy loss. But on the southern side, it's Barracudas trying their damnedest to stop all of these frigates, but they're just going to be unable to. Mass Barracuda might work, but it's a very cost-ineffective play. You just have to wait until you see a bunch of, well, basically just teach you anything. Destroyers coming out can stop a lot of Barracudas. But for now, it is going to seemingly stall things out for a little bit. Going to lose a lot of build power over here with these T1 engineers. But it is going to stop this push, at least for the moment. Along with lots of destroyers and sirens out over here. But there's just so much in this Navy, it's hard to see how Unknown by himself will be able to stop that. And down here to the south, Turbo 2 is teleported in. Do they have any idea? Do they have any idea? Dead? I don't know if that is in reference to something else. But Tactical Nuke now on the way for Turbo 2. Strategic launch detected. That's coming out from the base of Turbo 2, but he's also got himself set up back here with the tactical nuke upgrade finished up, and he has already built, I think he's about to finish up building the first tactical nuke itself. Once he fires this, he needs to get out of here, But he can't because he just lost teleporter for that. Let's go ahead and come over here to where the nuke is. It's coming in. It's going to be shot down by the anti-nuke, so we don't need to worry about that. And Turbo 2, he's sitting on the side of the map. We're going to be able to track where that particular missile goes. I believe it does track for this, and he's going to be firing it momentarily. That nuke is done. Let's see where he fires it. Come on, Turbo 2. Don't forget about it now. Off goes the nuclear missile. Where is it going to land? There's no anti-nuke here. I am sure of it. And he's going straight for the air grid. And yeah, there is no TMD. And in comes the Billy. Oh, a beautiful strike coming out from the man, the myth, the legend, Turbo 2. And he has managed to really deal a number there. That killed off the HQ. There's going to be no more T3 air until he rebuilds an entire new HQ. Huh? Nuke defense launched. That was not a nuke, Kappa. Oh. Spiky noob. Very confused, but Turbo 2... with that alone, almost getting 5 ranks of veterancy. Where is he going? He's trying to walk his way down. Can you walk down this? Oh, I had no idea you could just walk down this. Oh, you can't. He gets stuck. Second nuke launched. What is the range of that nuclear missile? It's right over here. TMD has been thrown up in the middle. But over here to the west, he may be able to just completely kill off a lot of this. He can definitely at least get these, and another missile coming out from Turbo 2. And Billy. Set up on the cliffside with the nuke at his backside. Such a beautiful game. All of these attacks. So, Turbo 2 with the absolute baller play there. Trying to build up a shield. Not going to be able to do it. Building up a bunch of flak. He may just be dead here to T1 bombers. But in comes his Air Force. And we get a beautiful look at a huge air fight. It's hard to tell who's going to win it. There's so many ASF everywhere. But it's starting to look like Turbo 2 is getting cleaned out. But also... Foley can't rebuild air until he gets another T3 HQ, and he's lost his air grid. And no, in fact, Turbo 2 just going to completely win the air fight. Despite fighting over a bunch of SAMs, he will be able to protect his commander, who managed to live on 5,000 HP. Those 5 ranks of vet coming in clutch. And strategic launch detected. I just heard it. Where was that coming from, and where is it going to? It's a nuke out yet again from Turbo. He's just doing everything. He's trying to bring his team back into this. He's now mass torpedo bombing the navies over here. He's going for the island of Swadoslav. He launches another Billy. I think that one's going to be intercepted by TMD. Pretty sure. Yeah, that one's going to get shot down, right? It's right there. In it comes. Oh! Well, that's a glitch. It shows through the terrain. But in comes a teleporter upgrade. Turbo 2 just getting these upgrades really easily. He has such a strong economy behind him. And the Wheelie has an even stronger economy behind him. And he's now starting to throw out Novaxes. And it seems as though despite losing both navies, Team 1 might just be in a better position. They're going to have air control. And in the northern side, Wheelie is just setting himself up for success. He's building so many Atlantis. He's just going to push him back with Atlantis. There's not... I don't know why we're not seeing Barracuda spam coming out from Swadoslav. That's how you deal with Atlantis. It's so easy. At least that's how I deal with Atlantis. Whenever I see Atlantis spam, it's T1 subs or Vesper / Barracuda if you have it. But he's also... Oh, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to do the ground fire trick, and in fact, it's working very well. He's ground firing down the Atlantis, and the Atlantis is just going to die right here. Also, I saw a Tempest building up here earlier, or maybe that was down here where I saw the Tempest. Oh, yep, there is a Tempest finished up for Spiky Noob. Spiky Noob and Swadoslav doing very good. The ground fire out from the battleships, slowly killing off this Atlantis. But also, there's no shielding on these battleships, so these Novax is going to slowly kill off them, and they're even trying to focus down the cruisers first, just to give Turbo 2 the option of hitting them with the... Oh! A teleport out from Shisato gets him killed! But does he kill... He kills off the anti-nuke. What upgrade? Yeah, he had to go for teleporter, right? Laser now on the way for a no. Let's see. Did Shisato get teleporter? I wish... Stop typing! You damn players. No, he didn't. I guess answers in the comments. How did he get in there? I'm guessing he had to transport drop then. I don't know how his comm got all the way over there, though. And that is Chisato. A no, going for laser. I'm guessing he's just affording that off overflow. And he's going to go for teleporter as well, I would guess. But now, with the heightened alert, I don't see how this goes any way other than poorly. And another teleport out from Turbo 2, and he's getting tactical nuke yet again in this corner. And Swadoslav, I don't think, knows about it. Yeah, he just doesn't know. And his commander is starting to walk into the water. That's going to be a very unhealthy surprise for him. As Turbo 2 says, oh no. He knows about Swadoslav's comm walking into the water. I'm guessing he has an Eye of Rain. Yeah, he does. Well, he's going to have anti-nuke, or he's going to have tactical nuke done. Maybe he can close fire that nuke into the water and kill off Swadoslav. But Swadoslav, in fact, not going to do... It's not good enough. He didn't get close enough to see Turbo 2. Turbo 2 being the sneakiest man alive. As over here in the middle, mass tactical missiles killed off a Tempest, it would seem. And he's just throwing out tactical missile batteries like no other wheelie, just trying to defend against Navy using anything but Navy on this southern side. Laser has finished up for a no, and he's about halfway done on teleporter. As mass torpedo launcher battery comes out, he's trying to get a snipe onto Swadoslav. Maybe he's trying to get Swadoslav to walk out of the water, and that is indeed the plan. Swadoslav going to walk right into a tactical nuke. The absolute mad lad plays coming out from Turbo 2, and he kills off! He kills off Swadoslav! He baits him into walking right into a nuclear missile! Oh my god, these are the plays of plays coming out from Turbo 2. His team is on its last legs. They're dying to Navy. But him and the wheelie just trying to be the shield to protect the economy of Turbo 2, and Turbo 2 just being an absolute cudgel with this commander. Gets off another missile launch, kills off more of the base of Foley. He's now going to spam up yet more flak to try and deal with now Restorer and Renegade spam along with torpedo bombers. Would also not be surprised to see a bunch of more T1 bombers. Yep, we do indeed see those coming out now to go after Turbo 2's comm. And I will be very surprised if Turbo 2 walks away from this. Unknown has finished off Teleporter. Wonder where he's going to go with that. A Scathis now on the way for Spiky Noob. And Turbo 2, I don't think he gets to walk his way out of this one. It's been a very, very insane game out from him, but you don't get to walk away from these situations. Well, maybe if he gets that shield up in time. He gets the shield up, but it's only going to buy him mere seconds. There's no more ranks of veterancy to be had. May as well launch one last Billy. And Turbo 2 goes down. And with that, all that's left is a man with a telemaser and the wheelie. As we see that Foley has completed an experimental. What experimental did Foley complete? He completed a chicken in the middle. I'm guessing that was already under construction by Shisato. I don't know how much of a role that's going to play. Up here in the north, the wheelie, he's managing all of these bases. He's managed to force out all of the long-range siege equipment, but now we're currently seeing 6 whole Plan B submarines now built up by Spiky Noob. And if Seton has taught us anything, it's that this is a winning strategy. At least in recent times. He's currently killed off the T3 Naval HQ of his opponent, Foley. Unknown defeated by Control K after teleporting in down here to the south. I'm missing so much. Oh, apologies for that one. Missed 2 comms dying. I'm guessing he just died to a bunch of RAS SCUs, or maybe there were some PD around here. But I don't see the PD. And that's going to be unfortunate for the wheelie, who is now alone against the world. Spiky Noob and Foley both set up down here. We have a Scathis now on the way for Spiky Noob, but the wheelie is going for mass Novax, and he's going to be able to build a lot of these. Already has 3 on the front lines, is building his 3rd back here. He's just going to need to shield it really well because that Scathis is going to finish very soon. Does he know of the Scathis' construction? No, he just really hasn't had a chance to scout down here in a long time. And that's going to be very, very dangerous now for the wheelie. And Scathis could be huge. We're also going to see a ton of subs with nukes. Are all of these one? This is just one. These are all of the subs. They're stacked on top of each other to make it look like there's one. I don't know exactly how you do it. How you get them to stack like this. I guess maybe it's a Shift-G command. I think it's a little bit tacky that they can all sit on top of each other. 2 out of 7 anti-nukes loaded here. It's not nearly going to be enough. As the wheelie sits in this northern pond. By the way, I killed 100k mass. Thanks, love. And now Foley sits in the water down here with Spiky Noob. As wheelie threatening to just take over this northern side. But even if he does, what is he going to do? He's the biggest threat to him right now is this nuclear submarine stack. Is that all the nuke subs again? Or is that just one? It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, I guess I could always just do this. Yep, that's all 6 of them. He's keeping them moving directly on top of each other to try and trick Wheelie, who is now sitting on 6 Novaxes, 7 Novaxes, 8 and 9 going up simultaneously. He's sitting on over 1,000 mass a second, but now in comes the first reign of the Scathis. It's gonna come down to Novax versus Scathis here in the end game. Where are all of his Novax satellites? They're here in the middle. They're killing off a chicken as it walks out of the base. That is quite the play. But needs to be worried about this Scathis incoming. A bunch of Strat Bombers now coming in. They're going to try and kill off the Novaxes. But that's just 2 Novaxes that are potentially going to go down. Needs to be very careful. Has built up some shielding for the later Novaxes. Has his own ASF fleet here to just shoot down all of these Strat Bombers after their first pass. But does lose multiple Novaxes. GG, he discovered my master plan. Close game, guys. Oh no. Yeah, it seems as though Wheelie has is slightly given up here. Close game, guys. I thought we had you. Turbo 2 played a blinder of a game, but 100k mass killed on a ACU doesn't negate the double naval loss. And with all of these submarines over here, many of them going to be completing their nukes very soon. It's a very tragic game, but it is going to most likely just be the end for the Wheelie. I think he even thinks that it's over. We're going to go ahead and speed it up just a little bit, because barring some miraculous play, I think the Wheelie is almost assuredly out of this. Yeah, Scathis Rain comes in, starts killing off these Novaxes in the back. He's still building more, but I don't think he's going to be able to get enough Novaxes to just brute force down the shields over here and kill off this Scathis. The shielding now for Spiky Noob is starting to fail. He doesn't have enough power, but he's just given the shields over to Foley, who has more than enough power to support this with the 3 bases, all of which having T3 P-Gens. And a second Scathis is on the way. He's out shielding the Scathis for now as he builds more Novaxes, but even then, there's all of these nuke subs. I don't think any of them are loaded just yet, but they're getting close. And now with the shields faltering, and more shields gonna go up just in time. But that Scathis fire is gonna rain down hell onto these Novaxes. And it seems as though Wheelie might just be having power issues as well. It does seem as though he did for a moment there. He got teleporter on the ACU. Is he going to teleport? In comes more Scathis fire. The Novax is holding up just fine for now. More Novax is showing up as an Owasso comes in to drop a bomb. I think it dropped, I'm not sure. But in comes the Scathis fire. All of the Novaxes go down with the Strat Bomber and the Owasso coming in. GG, says the Wheelie. Is he just going to control K here? I'm sure I would. And Wheelie control Ks, and that's going to be the game. Thank you all for watching. Please consider subscribing if you aren't already. It helps out the channel a lot. Consider giving this a like and sharing it around with your friends. You all are beautiful. Thank you to the patrons and channel members who support this channel. You all are beautiful. This is Willow, signing off.
But if I lay down and I play dead